Hello, everybody. Attorney Kevin Pritchett here again with another episode, podcast number 3, in the Law Office of Kevin Pritchett Keeping It Real podcast series. The podcast dedicated to telling it to you straight, no matter it's legal issues, retirement planning issues, wealth building issues, giving you the straight story. Today, I'm going to continue with the Deadly Money Trap series. Keep it quick, down and dirty. We're going to talk about inflation. The reason why this is a deadly money trap is that people don't really think about inflation nearly enough. My senior citizen clients do when I'm planning their retirement planning money. They're very aware of the impact of inflation because they're not in their money generating years, so they know their money has to outlive them. And they want to make sure that the ravages of inflation don't eat into their buying power. They're keenly aware of it. When you are in your income generating or wealth building years, you don't really think about inflation because you think that you're earning money at a greater rate than inflation. And in that moment, you may be. But you have to understand the impact of inflation over time. The example I love to use is when I first started driving back in 1976, I think it was, gasoline was 25 cents a gallon. Now gasoline is $4.25 a gallon. My first car cost $900. It wasn't a brand new car. It was a used car, just several years old. It was $900. Now the average cost of a new car is over $36,000. My college, when I graduated from college in 1979, my room and board and tuition was about $4,600. Now the same college, my college that I graduated from, room and board expenses, everything all in is close to $80,000. That's insane. If you aren't generating revenue and building your revenue generating machine, your wealth machine, and we'll talk about what the wealth generating machine is in future podcasts, inflation is going to grind you to powder. If you take $100,000, put it in your mattress, 30 years later, the buying power of that $100,000 is going to be significantly reduced because of the power of inflation. So what do? Simply, you have to have your money. Well, let me back up. When you're in your income generating years, you have to be generating money at a rate that's higher than inflation. For most people, that's easy to do. Most business owners, that's easy to do. When you're a W-2 wage earner, it isn't necessarily the case. You may or may not get a raise that's commensurate with inflation. What I suggest to people who come in and talk to me who are W-2 employees and want to start a business, who want to get ahead of this inflation money trap, is that you start a business. You invest in a business. That way you can control the speed, speed and percentage at which you are generating revenue. You can control that your income generating and your wealth building mechanisms exceed inflation. So my friends, don't sleep on inflation, especially if you're in your retirement years or pre-retirement years. You really need to sign up for a consultation where I can determine really exactly whether you have enough money to live in retirement. Some very simple calculations that I do, what I've been doing for over 20 years. I can help people determine whether they can outlive, make sure that they won't outlive their money and make adjustments and such that would need to happen. Now, I guess this is an appropriate time for me to add the legal disclosure I usually put in the podcast. I'm not an investment advisor. This podcast is not investment advice. It's not legal advice for a particular legal situation. If you want investment advice, go to an investment advisor. If you want specific legal advice tuned to your specific situation, make an appointment with an attorney that's qualified in the areas that you're interested in order to see about your particular situation. Okay, I've given you the disclaimer. If you are concerned, if you're listening to this and you're concerned about whether you will outlive your money, there's a link down below this video where you can sign up for a one-on-one consultation, and you can give me the information, and I can determine whether you will outlive your money or not, and make some changes, do some building to make sure that you don't. Okay, my friends, any questions, comments, leave them in the comments section below the video. That's all for today's episode of Keeping It Real podcast. Kevin Pritchett signing off.